God said, I told you to leave this place. God said, I told you to leave Moab. He said, I told you to pack your bags. I told you to go. So why are you still in this place? You are wanting things to get better, but they will not get better until you go back and obey God in the area of disobedience. Delayed obedience is disobedience. Hear me today. When God gives you an instruction, when God tells us to do something, we have to do it. And we have to do it at that moment. Because whenever we delay it, the enemy is so sneaky. He's so cunning. He's so sly. He makes us think when God speaks to us, we can wait to obey God and there will be no repercussion. That's a lie from the pit of hell. There are repercussions. You're wondering why things aren't getting better for you because you disobeyed God. God is asking you, why are you still in this place? Why are you still listening to these people? Why do you seek confirmation? Why do you keep seeking confirmation? Why do you keep asking people? Listen, family of God. When God has given you confirmation, when God has spoken out of the mouth of two or three of his witnesses, because he tells us his word shall be established. When God does this, you better book up, you better move, you better get to going because your environment is going to get worse. Your environment is going to go from bad to worse. God is asking you, why are you still in this place? Didn't I tell you to leave? Didn't I tell you to go? Didn't I tell you to pack your bags? Didn't I tell you to start that business? Didn't I tell you to fly across the country? Didn't I tell you to go back to this place? God is saying, why are you still in this place? You have to obey God. You can't keep seeking where you're not lost. You can't keep asking because you are not trusting the Spirit. You're trusting self. You're trusting your faith. And your faith is going to fail you every single time. Did you hear that? God is asking you, why are you asking everybody when I've told you what to do? Why are you uplifting somebody else's words and I've already spoken to you how many times? Yes, God will use his people to speak to you. Yes, God will use his people to give you confirmation, to give you some instructions. But after God has done that, this is what God is asking you. God said, I've done everything you've asked me to do. I've told you what to do. I've shown you in vision. I've shown you in dream. Now I have used my people to speak into your life and you still won't move. You better move. You better do what God called you to do. Your life won't get better. You want your life to get better? This is the only way that your life is going to get better. You got to do what God tells you to do. And you got to do it whenever he tells you to do it. See, you're moving by sight. See, you're moving not by faith. Faith is doing what you cannot see, but you are believing that what you're doing is going to come to pass, that it's going to work. You can't please him without faith. Whatever God has called you to do, it's going to take your faith to do it. You better leave Moab so God can give you a resurrection. Wherever you are, that place is dead. It's a dead place. The people are dead. The spirit of Ichabod is in that place. The spirit of God has left that place. Some of these ministries that you're in, the spirit of God has left this place. That's why these ministries cannot produce, because there is an Ichabod spirit in that place. The spirit of God has left that place. Yes, God has lifted his spirit. There won't be any deliverances like there were in the beginning. Why? Because people in ministries, people have learned, family of God. They have learned in ways that God didn't want them to learn. That means they're dabbling in the dark. And God never called his children to dabble in the dark. God said, I've removed my spirit. This is why things are going to get difficult for you in this place. This is why things are going to get more harder in that place, because you're afraid to move. You're afraid to do what God tells you to do. God didn't give you that spirit of fear. If you're suffering with a bout of fear, if it's not reverential fear for God, God didn't give you that. God didn't give you that fear. God gave you spirit, power, and of a love mind, of a sound mind. That's what God gave you. Whenever you keep asking people over and over and over again, and God is giving you confirmation through your vision, through dreams, through signs, and out of the mouth of two or three of his witnesses, when God has done what you've asked him to do, and you still won't move, you got to move. You remember Jonah? Do you remember when he called himself not going to obey God, not going to do what God told him to do? Oh, you're going to do it. Oh, you're going to got hell to pay if you don't do it. When you are chosen, see, it's a difference being called, and there's a difference between called and chosen. See, that's why the word of God tells us many are called, but few are chosen. Many people are called by God. They're called of God, but few are chosen. Why? Because whenever you are chosen, it's going to hurt. Whenever you're chosen, you do not oppose the will of God. You don't. If God wakes you up at 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, if it's an inconvenience to your flesh, you get up anyway and you obey the Spirit of God. If God tells you to lay your plate down and fast for 3 days, whatever, how many ever days he tells you to do it, when you are truly chosen, not called, when you are truly chosen by God, there is no flesh that can linger in the realm of the Spirit. There is no flesh that can linger in the will of God. Whatever God tells you to do, you just do it. You have to do it. God is asking you, why are you still in this place? Why are you still doubting? Why are you still fearing? Why are you fearing? God said, I didn't give you that spirit of fear. God said, I'm not making you afraid. I haven't done anything to you in your life that caused you to doubt me. Look back over your life. There's not one thing you can place on God that God calls you to doubt. No. You have to have faith. Whenever you're a spiritual person, whenever you're kingdom-minded people, you must operate through the realm of the Spirit, not your flesh. Things are not going to get better until you obey God. Disobedience is delayed obedience. Remember, delayed obedience is disobedience. I don't care what God told you to do. You better do it. Don't be asking your mom, your dad, your spiritual mother, your spiritual father. If you've done all of that, why are you keep asking? Don't keep asking. God is saying you better get yourself together and do what I told you to do, because God is going to allow storms. Do you know this can cause us unnecessary storms, unnecessary trials, unnecessary tribulations when we make a decision not to obey God. And when you do what God tells you to do, when you get ready, no, we don't have a choice to obey God when we get ready. There is no inconvenience in us when God tells us something to do. He speaks it and then we just have to do it. It doesn't matter who doesn't support you, who doesn't believe in you. It doesn't matter if they laugh in your face. It doesn't matter if they talk behind your back. It doesn't matter. You just do what God tells you to do. If God tells you to get yourself out of Moab and leave, if God tells you to leave Lot behind, him and his whole household, you better leave these people behind. You better leave your family behind. You better leave your friends behind. You better leave that job if God has told you what to do and he's giving you confirmation. You better leave that place. You better get yourself out of that place, because your life will not get better until you do what God has called you to do. That's a word for you today. That's a word of confirmation. Share this video with somebody that is struggling in that area that is struggling with moving, that's having a hard time obeying and doing what God called you to do. That is the enemy of your faith. Don't let the enemy rob you of what God is getting ready to give you, family. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you are afraid in your belly, do it afraid. God is going to back you up. You're not going to fail. Listen to me. The enemy wants you not to take a step because he wants you to believe that you're going to be made ashamed. You're not going to be made ashamed. You're not going to look like you're a failure. No, family. Your faith will let you look foolish sometimes, but God won't let you fail. God will uphold you. You're going to make it. It's going to work out. It's going to be a success. It is. The more you hold back, the more you hold back on your blessing. The more you hold back on doing what God called you to do, the more you're going to hurt yourself. The more you're going to hurt your own people. Listen, let me tell you something. Your deliverance, listen, family of God, this is why we got to obey God. We got to learn to obey God. And that takes time. That means every time God tells you to do something, obey him. That teaches us the next time that he gives us an instruction that we're going to do it real quick. We're going to do it real fast, because we know the voice of God and we know we must obey. We know why we obey. Somebody else's deliverance is tied up in your deliverance. Somebody else's deliverance and breakthrough and miracles is tied up in your obedience. Obey God. Obey God. You better obey God. You better obey God. God says it's better to obey him than man. He says it's better to fear him than to fear man. the one that can kill, destroy the soul and body in hell. You better obey God. You better forget what people think about you. You better stop listening to this wrong advice. You better stop listening to this wrong counsel. If God has spoken to you, and if God has confirmed his word to you, his instruction to you out of the mouth of other people, obey God. Obey God. Thank you for tuning into our broadcast today. If you are enough, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like and share. Jump over to Instagram at Nikki McCray and give us your support over there. Get a copy of the book, Becoming a Master of Divine Consciousness, in ebook and paperback format, anywhere books are sold online. Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Books A Million. Just Google the book. And there's a link to in the back of the YouTube page where you can get a copy of that book. Thank you for purchasing our products, our candles here, and giving us your support of our products on our Instagram page. Nikki G, Team Nikki G, thank you so much for giving us your support. We love you here. Obey God. You better do what God tells you to do. Do what God has told you to do, because then you're going to see the heavens open up for you. Share this message. Don't get scammed. We love you here. Bye-bye.